Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the college football closing line show for week number 5. Hopefully everybody is having a good Saturday morning. I am on my second pot of coffee, so if I seem a little jittery, that's probably it. Had to make sure that I jumped on and knocked out all of these lines, figured out what I like best, what I don't, and I really don't feel any better about them 2 hours later than I did when I first started. So, Chris, you kind of feel the same way this morning?
No, some of the games I like a lot.
Well, cheers to that. Cheers to that. We will get to all of these different things. We're going to go over the biggest games of the day. We're going to have a question and answer session, all that good stuff. But before we do that, if you would do us a favor, hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Share the show out. Tell your friends about it. Whatever social media you are on, you can tweet it out. You can Facebook it. You can ding-dong it. Whatever those apps are called. Just share it out. Tell all your buddies about it. We would appreciate your support with that, of course. Thank you, as always, for joining us this morning. Every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time, we will be right here knocking this out. We've already got some comments in. We got Bro Dibbles that says SMU all day, baby. We got some other guys that started in before we even began the show. King jumped in, said $250 3-pick, South Carolina, Mizzou, and TCU. Make $1,300 before 3 p.m. Yeah. I'm all in on that. Whatever you want to say, man. Whatever you want to say. So, Chris, let's go ahead and talk about the Friday recap. And good gracious, BYU looks absolutely unbelievable. My numbers had this line at like 15.
Not enough.
I thought, like, okay, what am I missing? Why is this like 10 points off? What is going on here? BYU wins 45-14. At the line opened at 21.5. It finally closed at 24.5. What did you see last night?
I saw domination. I think in a world of a strange offseason and not a lot of spring practice and things of that nature, I just think the fact that you're got 18, 19, 20-year-olds going up against 24, 25, 26-year-olds, and it's just a different game. They're just bigger and stronger and more mature.
The speed from BYU has absolutely shocked me this year. They have got guys. Oh, it's
I made up my mind this morning. We need BYU to join the American. I need BYU and Boise to join the American. That's what I need in my life. I need to see this team against Cincinnati. I need to see this team against Central Florida. I need that in my life every year. That's what I need.
That would be entertaining. We do have them against Boise this year. We've got them against San Diego State. Maybe not quite the same, but
not the same, man. Not the same.
I'm with you. Darren McCardle jumps in. He says Alabama minus 16.5. Brother, if you can still find a 16.5, cheers.
I was just about to say that had to be an earlier bet ticket because you're not getting 16 right today.
The Colonel says, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Colonel. Good morning, everybody on here. The Jalen 143 said Campbell chicken noodle soup. They shat on my ticket is what he said. Hey, they got stomped by Wake Forest last night. Absolutely stomped.
That Wake Forest offense is no joke. Okay, they ran into a buzzsaw in Pitt a couple weeks ago. They are no joke though, man.
Right?
They are no joke.
No, you're dead on about that. Dead on about that. Let's talk about the postponed games this weekend, and we've only got one. One game has been postponed.
That's it.
That is Troy at South Alabama. I feel like maybe we're moving in the right direction here.
I think we're doing a good job. I think these guys are taking this stuff seriously. They were told if you do everything right, you're going to get to play football, and they are doing everything in their power to do everything right.
You are correct about that. The other news of the week, the Red Box Bowl had already been canceled for this season. We also had the Bahamas and the Hawaii Bowls that have been postponed, canceled. Well, I think it's just canceled. I think they're just not happening this year. So we started with 42 games, and now we're down to 39 games. So 39 bowl games, not bad, is what it is. Let's see. Jace Gum says, I'm on Baylor, but that line moved against me. Yeah, we're going to get to that here momentarily. Chris, you want to go ahead and start talking about the morning slate?
Yeah, man.
Let's jump into the noon slate. So what we're going to do this week, we're going to do it a little differently. We're not hitting on every single game. We're going to hit on the biggest games, and then we're going to have a little Q&A session afterwards. Oh, by the way, our picks. I forgot to go through that. Here's our Tuesday picks, just so everybody knows where we stand on the day. I had Georgia minus 6.5 Oklahoma -7, TCU +13. Now, a lot of these lines you can't get anymore. Air Force +7, Boston College +14, and I had the over 61.5 on Oklahoma and Iowa State. Chris, have you got your picks listed?
Yeah, I got my picks listed, and I've got updated lines too. So hang on, I'm going to cough real quick. Sorry, guys. I've been dying lately. All right. We'll start with TCU. And so a little bit of this line movement has hurt me. Okay. And some of it has helped me. And so I can double down if I want and get a little bit better number today. I got TCU +13 on Tuesday. Today, that's 10.5. So you're not getting nearly as good of a number. And it's become a pretty public pick. South Carolina +18. It's now 17. That number, we're going to talk. Are we going to talk about that game? Oh, you can get it at 17.
We're going to talk about it.
Okay, you can get it at one place at 17. Yeah. Central Florida, UCF. I've got them -21. That has gone down to 19.5. I will be getting back on that again because I think 3 touchdowns is an easy number for me. My favorite pick of the day is Auburn +7. Get the hook today. You can get 7.5 pretty easily. Take that hook, find it, and roll there. Mississippi State -17.5, gone down to -17. Don't have to take the hook anymore against Arkansas. I got Ole Miss +6.5. They are +7 now, so you can get that full touchdown. And I'm on Baylor -3, and I will be getting on Baylor -1.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts that one went the way that it did. Let's see, jumping back into the comments here. I like Baylor, but it's going to be tight. That's Bro Dibbles. Parlay PJ said Baylor, bigger, better team. David T said West Virginia had a letdown last week. Yeah, I thought they looked better than Chris did, but either way. Army under 50 for Darren McCardle. And Scott jumps in and says, I need 2 locks. Well, Scott, at the end of the show, we're going to give out some best bets, the ones that we feel the absolute best about, but we are going to talk about these games first and foremost. So let's go ahead and jump into the morning slate here. The first game that I've got for us to talk about is South Carolina at Florida. It's 107-108 rotation numbers. Florida opened a 19.5-point favorite. It is down to 16 at one spot, 16.5 everywhere else, 17 at one spot. If you like Florida, obviously, this is good value. If you like South Carolina, you should have got this thing earlier. Tell me your thoughts here on Coach Boom going down to Gainesville.
It's a little bit strange because this is the one line that I think I found where you got a little chicanery going on with the line movement, as 60% of the action is coming in on Florida, but this line has moved all the way to some places to 16. That's 3.5 points backwards. It looks like the books are wanting action on Florida. They are basically, sometimes the books will take a side. And if you listen to enough people who know about these things and work in the industry, talk about it, they're not afraid to actually take a side and they'll push action in one direction. The books are taking the side of South Carolina. That's the side I'm on. I didn't get the best number when I bet it, but I will be trying to get a better number. No, I didn't. I got a way better number. I'm sorry. It's going down. Yeah. This is one of the games I got a good number. Sorry. I made the wrong kind of mark on my paper there. Oh, no, but yeah, I like South Carolina to keep this thing close. This defense is not going to be anything like Ole Miss's defense. Okay. I think Florida is a exceptionally good football team. This is not a knock on Florida. This is not a knock on Kyle Trask or Dan Mullins or anybody else. I think Coach Boom is going to have his guys play hard all year. The problem is moral victories don't save jobs. But I think South Carolina is going to have a lot of moral victories this year. I think they're going to play a lot of teams really close. Don't know that they win a lot of games, but I think you're going to have to fight like hell to beat them.
I think you might be right about that. And obviously we'll see. Mike Bobo in that offense looked pretty good against Tennessee. The other side of this is they like to slow the game down. So the less plays you got, the less chance you have to win by 3.
There's going to be the scoring from the Ole Miss Florida game. To say it'll be cut in half is insane. It might be cut in quarters.
That would absolutely be nuts. That would be nuts. Let's move into Missouri at Tennessee. Some more SEC East action. At Missouri going to Knoxville. Missouri did not look completely awful against Alabama last week. Tennessee escapes Columbia. They had to have a pick 6 return, etc. I'm leaning Missouri here. It's still sitting. It opened at 11. It jumped to 12. It's been all over the place. There's a 10.5 out there. or a couple of them. There's 11 and a halves out there. There's an 11 out there. I like Missouri. I mean, my number is closer to a touchdown than it is 11 or 12 points. So I'm not sure why there's such a big difference. I'm gonna put a little bit on Missouri. I'm gonna put maybe a quarter of a unit, like not much. But I see value here, but I'm wondering what I'm missing.
I think you're missing the separation of talent and the separation of coaching talent. I just don't think this is close in talent. I just don't. I think Tennessee is substantially better than Missouri. And the fact that they got a backdoor cover against Alabama, who had third and fourth string subs in at the end of the game, that doesn't make me feel better about this Missouri team and thinking that they played well last week. They didn't. They're just not a good football team. They're going to struggle to win a game.
Coming in with the fire. The Colonel jumps in. He said Vols are overpriced here. My number has Vols -7. Bro Dibbles said Missouri and Tennessee are both trash.
Tennessee is not a great team, but Tennessee's not trash either.
Francisco jumping in on you.
Yeah. I see it. Listen, I haven't been good.
What is this? Why the hatred?
I haven't been good. It happens. It's okay.
Hey, you know what? It's just fine. It's just fine. Francisco said in the swamp, Florida will blow them out, talking about Florida, South Carolina. Vale said, Gary and Chris, how do you feel about the over on SMU Memphis? I don't feel great about it because I don't know about Memphis's offensive team chemistry. So
I think Memphis is going to be okay. I actually feel better about Memphis today than I have all week. I don't know why. It could just be the homer in me wanting to see them do good, wanting to see them play well. But also, we've seen a couple of teams that played early and haven't played for a while, and then when they play again, like they kind of seem fine. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's jump into your boys. Baylor at West Virginia. Now you didn't hit with West Virginia last week. You were kind of upset with that one. But Neil Brown against Dave Aranda, two guys that you really, really like. This opened at West Virginia +2.5. The total was 55, and it is now sitting at a total of 54, 53.5 in one spot, and it's down to 1. Now it got off Baylor -3, but it's down to 1 now. Give me your thoughts here. What you like about this?
So here's where you and I disagree. You are saying that you were more impressed with West Virginia than I was last week. You don't think they played that bad. The problem is where they made mistakes was turning the football over, Gary. And teams that don't protect the football aren't great teams that you can trust. And I don't know that Oklahoma State defense is better than this Baylor defense. I know that they've looked better the last 2 weeks, the last 2 games that they've played. But I don't know if that's going to be who they are. I trust this Baylor defense a lot more. I think West Virginia is going to have a hard time scoring.
No, I would agree with that. The other side of this is we still don't really know what Baylor is. I mean, it took some kick returns and whatever else for them to get to the score that they got to last week against.
Yeah, but it's a first game. They've missed a ton of games because of the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
This defense, I trust. I trust Dave Aranda. I trust Brewer more than any quarterback in the Big 12. Flat out, plain and simple, I trust him more than all of them. He's not going to turn the football over. He's going to play tougher, hard-nosed, safer football than everybody out there. He's going to lead his team better than any quarterback in the Big 12.
Okay. I mean, I'm with you. I like Charlie Brewer. I'm all over that. Francisco jumped back in, by the way. I'll love Chris.
Oh, I know. I appreciate it. I take it well. Listen, I take it well. I can't help it if I'm losing.
Yeah. The Baylor game, I'm staying away from that one. I'm terrified of it because I think West Virginia is still, a really well-coached team. They've got some continuity there. I don't really know what Baylor is yet, but all of this is a crapshoot. I don't know what these teams are yet. They've only played 2 games at most, and some have only played 1. Like we're trying. I feel like I've got an advantage in some of these, but some maybe not so much. Let's move on. Let's talk about NC State at Pitt. Pitt opened -14.5. It is down to 14. It stayed about right there at this whole time. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The total was 48.5 at opening, and it is now down to 46.5 and 47 in one spot. I really like the under here. I don't think NC State is going to be able to score very much at all on this Pitt defense, but I don't trust this Pitt offense. So I would I would probably lean NC State plus the points here, if only because I don't trust Pitt's offense to be able to get anything done.
I'm a complete stay away on this game. I'm very interested to see, can North Carolina State's offense show improvement, look better than they looked last week, and put points up. Look anywhere close to like the team they look like against Wake Forest. And Pitt's defense, I'm looking forward to watching them. They look nasty. They look mean. They look aggressive. And I'm very interested to see how they play against this North Carolina State offense. Can Pitt put points up on the board? Because North Carolina State's defense is nothing to write home about. And if Pitt can't score on North Carolina State, and I'm not talking about defensive scores, and I'm not talking about getting your offense the ball on the 20, okay? I'm talking about drive and score continuously on North Carolina State. We got to start wondering, when are we going to see some offense come from this team? Or is this going to be one of those football teams where the defense is just going to have them week in and week out, which means they can win a lot of games ugly, but they're never going to cover big numbers?
You might be right. You might be right. I'm very curious to see what happens here.
This is one of those games where I'm hoping to learn a lot by the outcome of this game about at least one of these teams.
Yes, I agree. I would like to know a little bit more. Like Pittsburgh, I felt really good about so far. But if they just completely crap the bed today, I don't know what I'm going to think about these guys.
But we assume that we're working on, right? Own offense.
Wait, hold on. You were breaking up some kind of bad. Say that again for me.
It's only about the offense. Like, we're not.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the defense. I'm worried about the offense.
Yep. Yeah, we're on page there.
There we go. All right, let's go ahead and jump into TCU at Texas. This has become an incredibly public play. I think everybody got the same information, right? TCU 5-1 straight up and against the spread their last 6 against Texas. Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. This is the prime spot for Gary Patterson. He loves to show up against the Longhorns, and Max Duggan looked pretty good last week coming in relief duty. However, they still don't know if he can go a full game just because he did not get a full amount of practice. He's not in game shape, really, and they only went to him last week against Iowa State because they needed some help. They needed something. Downing looked okay, but he wasn't great, so they needed to bring in Duggan, and Duggan looked fantastic. I think they would have won the ball game if he had played the whole game, but this line opened at 13, and it is now down to 10 or 10.5 at some spots. I love this game at 13.
Yeah.
And now that it's down to like 10, I'm a little.
So there's a part of me. So I thought this was going to be a big public play too. I mean, we're looking at it on SBR review right now, Sportsbook review right now on the odds section. 61% of the actions come in on Texas. Now, I'm sure that is due to the line movement, not because of the line movement, I would hope. But this is another one of those situations where we're 60% of the actions going one way, but the line is going the opposite direction by 3 points again. Man, I just think that's crazy. Now, like I said, I know earlier in the week, the TCU play was the public play. 13 points, just too many points to give to Gary Patterson. I love that I already have that ticket. I just think he's got Texas's number. This is a game that matters to him. It has so much importance to do with recruiting in the state of Texas.
Yeah, now you're right about that. All right, are you ready for the afternoon slate?
Yeah, let's roll.
Let's roll through it. We'll jump into some of these very quickly. We've got North Carolina at Boston College. That's rotation 111, 112. Opened Boston College plus 11.5. The total was 54. It has jumped all the way out to North Carolina minus 14.5 here. Good gracious. I got to tell you, I love Boston College in this spot. I think North Carolina is a little bit too hyped here. Everybody loves the Sam Howell stuff. Everybody loves Mac Brown, all that. Look, this is the biggest road favorite that North Carolina has been since 1997. That is insane. That was the last time Mac Brown was there. Like, he went to Texas, won a national championship, did the whole Vince Young thing, came back, retired, came back, and now they're in the same spot. I really like BC to cover here. This is one of my absolute best bets. I mean, I'm a massive fan of what Jeff Hafley is doing. That team looks organized. No, they did not look great against Texas State last week. They had to come back in that spot. But again, you got North Carolina coming in town this week. They are not good enough to overlook anybody, but they are good enough to play with anybody. Does that make sense?
No, I agree completely. I liked this number at 11.5. It wasn't one of my gambling picks, but it was one that I was looking at. I love it at 14.5. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think listen, this is one of those things. If you're going to ding Memphis, all right, because they hadn't played in a month, but we're not doing the same logic for North Carolina. I don't understand how it's bad for one team, but okay for another. We have to follow our process consistently, guys. And for some reason, Memphis is getting no credit whatsoever because they haven't played in a month. North Carolina plays one game, they take a month off, and yet we don't miss a beat, and we trust them immensely. Man, I don't know. I think this Boston College team is pretty good.
I think so, too. Good gracious. The Colonel jumps in. He said, I agree. BC and the points at home. James Lill said TCU plus 14, Air Force plus 7, Auburn plus 7. Thank me later. I don't know that you can get TCU plus 14 anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you better be buying hooks.
Or teasing it. I mean, good gracious. Allison jumps in. Tennessee was 1 of 12 on third downs last week. Yeah.
Yeah, but that defense they played against Coach Boone in South Carolina is nothing like the Missouri, waterfall that they're about to walk through.
Now, you have got that right. 45 boxes of ZD said TCU money line sprinkle. That's a good name.
That's my kind of name right there.
All right, let's move into our neck of the woods, and that is Memphis. Going down to Dallas to face SMU. The line opened up. Memphis as a 2.5-point favorite. As it currently sits, SMU, it has flipped. It went through the number of 0, and now SMU is a 1.5 to 2-point favorite across the board. The total here is what a lot of people are interested in. Look, a lot of these totals that get into the 70s, for the most part, they tend to go over. However, for everybody that was asking before, I think that this one likely goes under, if only now I understand they both like to run a ton of plays, all that kind of stuff, but I worry about that Memphis offensive chemistry. SMU is not going to put up 50 some odd points on Memphis this year. Memphis has got a better defense than they did, but and on the same thing, Sonny Dykes likes to run the football a lot more than people think he does. Like, he just absolutely does. Go look at the stats. But they run a lot.
Hang on now. Whoa. Just because he runs the football doesn't mean they don't go fast. This is not Alabama in the 90s running the football. This is not Army running the football. Their run game is just as fast as everybody else's passing game.
Yes, absolutely. However, the clock continues to run whenever that happens. So
when they get first downs.
Agreed. If they're running for 10 yards a clip, then absolutely. But I don't think they're going to do that on Memphis today. Now, here's the other side of this, that Memphis offensive chemistry. That offense is built. Kevin Johns, their offensive coordinator, that offense is built on timing. They have not been able to practice. Like, they got to practice this week.
They practiced all of it
back. But it was 2 weeks where the football program was shut down. Like, so you get started, you get into the season, they didn't look great in the first half against Arkansas State. They come out, they got things rolling a little bit, but that one was a total of 65, I think, and it went under. So I'm all over SMU here. I think SMU is going to end up winning this game. I think SMU can win the conference this year. I think they're good enough to stay in there with UCF and Cincinnati. But aside from that, I'll take SMU here at home. I mean, they're 7-2 against the spread and straight up. Their last 9 at home against Sonny Dykes. Like, Sonny Dykes loves the spot. So I'm all about it. What are your thoughts here?
Go Tigers, go! I flipped on this game completely. All the line movement, everybody's going on SMU. The Tigers are going to roll today.
You know what? I typically do that whenever the public goes a certain way, but I've seen a trend here lately, and this started last year where, I mean, sometimes the public gets it right.
That's fine. That's fine. This is not a public thing. I've just seen too many of these teams sit out for a couple of weeks, and we just think, oh, well, they're going to be rusty. Oh, they haven't played. No, they're rested. They're fresh. They've been watching game film. They're more prepared for this game than they've ever been because they haven't done nothing but watch game film on them. They got a lot of game film. They got 3 games worth of game film on SMU. SMU's got 1 game of game film on them. I'm just thinking better athletes in Memphis. They're going to come out and out-athlete them. It's going to be a fun game, okay? I don't know about the over. It is a big number, but I don't think either one of these teams are going to have a tough time scoring, and it's going to be points galore, and I think Memphis comes out on top. And right now, all they got to do is win the ball game.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that. I like your thinking.
Give me some extra football. Give me overtime football in this game.
Hassan Ramos jumps in. Let's go, Chris. The Memphis boys are legit. Bro Dibbles said, LOL, thanks for the loot, Chris. Go SMU. I love it. I love it. Francisco said, when I'm 50-50 on a game, I usually bet the home team. Yeah, and that's it. SMU's the home team here. Cheers to that. Yeah, I mean, we got a whole lot of stuff going on, man. A ton of guys in the comments. You guys are fantastic. Leave your picks in the comments. Tell us what you're thinking today. We appreciate you guys. Make sure that you like the video and you are subscribed to the channel. We do this every Saturday. We jump on every Tuesday with our official picks for the week. Let's go ahead and move into the next one. Oklahoma State at Kansas. We won't spend a long time on this one, but man, this opened at 21.5. It is now at what, 23?
I was about to say, did it hit 24 anywhere or no?
No, it is still 23 across the board.
It is. That's right, across the board.
I would still like Oklahoma State here. Spencer Sanders is supposed to be back today, from what I understand. Kansas has got major league problems, both on defense and on offense. They can't get the offense figured out. So, I mean, everything's wrong here.
Yes, everything is wrong. Listen, if Oklahoma State can't find a way to score on Kansas, there's something very, very, very wrong at Oklahoma State, and we need to start paying attention to it. I'm not playing this game at all because that Oklahoma State offense has looked really bad. I kind of think the play, I know the number is only 54.5. I kind of think the play is the under. I know Oklahoma State's defense is as good as they've been in the first 2 games they played. Kansas will not put a point on the board.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. That defense has looked absolutely fantastic.
That defense has looked surprisingly amazing. I don't know how that happened. All right. Not what I expected when the season started. But if that defense is this good, Kansas won't score, and Oklahoma State's offense hasn't shown me that they can hang 50 on anybody. So,
hey, Jim Knowles' defense, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Where did it come from?
Hey, man, he was doing this crap at Duke 3 years ago or whatever it was. Let's move into the biggest afternoon game. That's Texas A&M at Alabama, 143, 144 rotation numbers. The line opened at 16.5. It is now at 17.5, 18, 18.5. So do your shopping, boys. SBRodds.com is where you can find them. Well, I felt good about Alabama minus 16.5. And going through all the different stuff, we had a guy, I want to say his name was Jerry, that jumped in the comments, and I thought he had the best idea for this, and that is to parlay the Alabama and Clemson first half lines. That's where you will get the most value. It's Alabama minus 10, I believe, at most spots. Look, Alabama and Clemson both come out, because I don't think we're really going to talk a lot about Clemson here. Both of them come out early. They get all their plays in. They kind of run up the score a little bit. They have a major talent advantage over Texas A&M because of all of the opt-outs. That's the biggest issue. Look, Texas A&M, they had one guy returning because of the opt-outs that had 32 catches last year. The rest of their receiving core had a combined 8 catches last season. That's it. That's all they got. And they don't have any real playmakers. You have to have playmakers to beat Alabama.
And it's not just a bunch of guys that opted out. Everybody that opted out is an NFL talent.
Yes.
You cannot lose NFL talent in college and then just come back, show up, and play ball and compete.
The total is still sitting at 53.5. That's exactly where it opened. It went a few different places. I'm staying away from this one.
I would take the under in this total if I had to, but that's a lot of points. I think Texas A&M is going to struggle to score.
I think so as well.
Come on, Jimbo. One time for me. One time, baby.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Virginia Tech and Duke. And this line took a swing, didn't it? Good gracious. Opened at 9.5. It's rotation 113, 114. Duke has not looked good. They had 5 turnovers against Boston College, and then they turned around last week and had 7 turnovers. 7 turnovers. They have had 14 turnovers in the first 3 games. Like, it's not getting better. They had 2 against Notre Dame, 5 the next week, 7 the week after that. We're going the wrong way, guys.
Our boy Fowler on game day this morning said they are holding on to the football like it is a porcupine covered in dynamite.
I love that. I love it.
And that's insane. That is just insane. This is the most non-Duke thing we've ever seen in our life. The only reason Duke has been consistent is because they don't beat themselves, because they don't turn the ball over, and they don't commit penalties. And this team has turned the ball over more than I've ever seen any team in my life. And I watched TCU the last 2 years, and they were averaging 4 a game.
Oh, yeah.
These jokers are averaging 5.5 a game.
Caliph Peso jumps in. Duke quarterback Bryce is a huge disappointment. Yeah. I mean,
there's a reason he transferred from Clemson, because they knew you never touching the field. We can't even put you in mop-up duty.
It's nuts. It's just nuts to see. So I'm probably staying away from this one, because I will tell you this. Last year, kind of the same spot, Virginia Tech was favored by like 10, I think, and they were at home in Blacksburg, and Duke beat them 45-10. Like,
yeah, but this Duke team is not that Duke team. The Duke is
you're right.
Listen, this game might be close. Okay, Duke might cover. Hell, Duke might win. They're not blowing anybody out. Duke wouldn't blow anybody in the country out right now.
I think you're right about that. You were right about that.
That's not happening. Our boy Falika is on Duke though, plus the points. Now that it's jumped, I think he got him at 12.5. That made me worried for him. That made me worried for him.
I can't trust it. I can't do it.
No.
Let's move into your boy, the Lane Train, going up to Lexington, Kentucky. Kentucky, I thought looked pretty good against Auburn last week. Sans the turnovers, right? Everybody's got the turnover bug right now. But Ole Miss looked pretty good against Florida. Was able to move the football basically at will on that Florida defense. I expected more from the Gators defense than we got. But I think Kentucky's a little bit different, right? Kentucky is not as comfortable with just going up and down the field and playing turf ping pong as they did last week. I don't know which way to go on that. I know that you like Ole Miss here.
Yes, sir.
I'm staying away from this one because I think, Kentucky got Joey Gatewood back, and he's been practicing and everything. It's not like he was just sitting out and waiting until somebody told him he could play. Like, he was able to practice with the team. He's ready to roll. I don't know what Kentucky team we're going to see today. But I know that you love Ole Miss, and I
think they got a chance to win the football game, my friend.
I can get down with it.
I think this Ole Miss defense is bad against the pass, but they shut Florida's run game down pretty damn good.
Yes.
And they did pretty well. They held their own. That front seven isn't as bad as I thought they were going to be. And Florida's got some dudes. Okay. That's not a joke. Florida should have pushed them around a lot better than they did in the trenches. Now, they didn't have to run the ball very much because they could just throw it at will. But I don't see a defense in the country slowing this offense down. I think the way I watch the play calls, the way they run the football, the play designs are the misdirection scheming I have never seen in my life watching football. I lost track of the ball multiple times. I don't know that Kentucky's going to slow that down. I think Ole Miss has a chance to win this game. I'm definitely taking the 7 points.
Cheers to that. The Colonel said, I do too, Chris. Cheers there. The Colonel said, I think Kentucky better be on upset alert. The Lane Train can put up points. Caliph Peso said Kentucky isn't playing consistent ball. Nope. James Lewis said all Kentucky can do is run the football. And then Caliph Peso said, Gary, is that Gatewood from Auburn? Yes, that's Joey Gatewood that transferred out of Auburn after last season. So, yeah it's the Colonel said Lane has a beautiful offense. See, and the Colonel's a Tennessee fan, and he got over the Lane stuff.
It was just too long ago. And you can't hate somebody for taking a dream job. You can be mad at them. You can be upset about them. But at some point in time, you have to understand, listen, that's where they've always dreamed of going.
Yeah. I mean, and when you get the opportunity, you just got to jump on it. Here's what it is. Last afternoon slate game that I've got, Navy at Air Force. Line opened up Air Force -1, and then the books overcorrected themselves because they realized that there were a ton of guys out for Air Force that were not going to be allowed to play in this game. They would not allow turnbacks at the academy. which is kind of strange.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Look, the military academies are a different beast, man.
I understand, and I respect all their rules. I respect everything that they do, and I appreciate everything they do. I just having guys wanting to opt out because of the COVID situation. We knew very little about this thing when most of these guys made their decision to opt out, and now we have so much more information. You just got to allow people to say, "Hey, I was given bad information, and now I feel safer and better about it."
Yeah, I agree.
I just take that.
So the total here is 47, and everybody loves. Well, you can find a 47.5 out there. Everybody loves taking military academy unders. 2 of the last 3 years, this game has gone over between Navy and Air Force, and between military academies, the underdog has covered 10 of the last 11. So
this is not the Army-Navy game. This is different. Air Force's offense has been different than Army-Navy.
Yes.
They all run the triple option of some form. But this offense, it's Todd Monken, not Jeff Monken. Is it Jeff Monken or Todd Monken? It's one of the Monkens. Hell of a coach.
Jeff Monken, you talking about for Army?
Yes.
Yes. Troy Calhoun is Air Force's coach.
Oh, yeah. I get that. Okay, I got those flipped. I'm sorry. Never mind. Doesn't matter. But
Dibble said stay away game big time. Would rather take Clemson minus 100 than bet this game. So yeah, no, that's the truth. Because nobody knows what to expect. Like
I'm gonna be on Air Force because of the uniform game.
Hey, the Red Tails uniform looks.
I bet money on Dummer. Y'all seen it?
Oh yeah, we've certainly seen it. We have certainly seen it. All right, we got to roll through the evening slate. The biggest game. Look, let's just fly through these because we also want to do a little Q&A, right?
Let's go.
So let's do the evening slate here, and let's talk Oklahoma at Iowa State. The line opened at 10.5. It is now down to 7.5, pretty much across the board. I was able to get Oklahoma on Monday at 6.5, and then I got them at 7 again last night, and it's now up to 7.5. Everybody loves Oklahoma again, and I'm not a fan right now. This is not one of my favorite plays. I've got my tickets on it, so I'm going to be pulling for Oklahoma. But man, Iowa State has covered every year against Oklahoma over the last 3 years since Lincoln Riley's been there. And Oklahoma did not look great last week, but it was all late, right? It was just an avalanche of problems. I kind of like Iowa State in this spot, but my pick is Oklahoma. I'm going to stick with my pick. I'm going to roll with that. How's that?
Yeah, somebody asked on the comments, was I in the Air Force? No. This is not the body of a soldier. You do not want me representing our country at all. I assure you of that. No, that didn't happen at all. I'm staying away from this game completely, but I'm very interested to see. But I think if Iowa State can either pull off the upset or keep this thing really close like they have in the past, I think it's red flags for Oklahoma and what this season's going to bring for them. I think when they play good teams, they're going to really struggle. When they play bad teams, they're going to beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, and I'm curious if Iowa State is a bad team. Like I know. Yeah,
there's a world in which Iowa State's just not a good football team.
Yeah, Brock Purdy has not impressed me this year. So my official play is Oklahoma, but yeah, I don't feel super confident in that one anymore. The more research that I have done. Moving on, Tulsa at UCF. You love UCF on this spot, right?
I do. I think they're going to roll. I just think there's just too much speed. I think there's too much athleticism. Tulsa is not hanging with this team. I have no idea what Tulsa was able to do to keep Oklahoma State down, but they're not slowing this team down.
I mean, cheers to it. If that defense looks any better, then that total will never get up to what it is. It opened at 67. It's up to 70, 70.5, 71 in some spots. So,
yeah, no, I wouldn't touch the over. I wouldn't touch the over at all. If I had to play it, I would take the under. But I think UCF rolls, and there's a chance that UCF can roll and slow down.
Auburn at Georgia. This is the one that we have gone back and forth the most about. I love Georgia in this spot. You, however, like Auburn a whole lot. I was not impressed with Auburn last week. Bo Nix, he had some good throws. His completion percentage was still complete crap. I am not a fan of this Auburn offense right now. They needed 3 turnovers to be able to win that game. They needed the Auburn Stadium chicanery to come through for them to be able to win the football game. And I'm glad they did because they covered for me, right? Because I bet on them last week. However, I like Georgia in this spot. If you flip Georgia's first half and second half, say you start out the game with Stetson Bennett and you come out and you roll out 32 points and you only give up 3 to Arkansas, and then in the second half, you get outscored 7-5 with a backup quarterback, and then everybody's feeling a little bit different about how things are looking right now. So, and I think that this line would have been bigger had that actually happened. I am rolling with Georgia today. Go ahead. I know you want to talk about Auburn.
Well, yeah, I just don't understand how you can think anywhere close to that Arkansas defense is even playing the same game that Auburn's defense is going to play. I think there's a world in which there's something very wrong with Georgia's offense.
Absolutely there's a world.
The fact that you want to flip those things, yes, because we would assume that Georgia put all their backups in, all this stuff. No, Georgia's number ones were playing up against the worst defense in the SEC. Okay?
Yeah.
And they couldn't put a point on the board. They didn't score their first touchdown until late in the third quarter. I don't care how many points they rolled off after that. The fact that you could not score an offensive touchdown until then tells me there's something wrong. This Auburn defense ain't close. They're not playing the same game. You're riding a bicycle and they're driving a NASCAR. That's the separation of Auburn's defense and Arkansas's defense.
That was a good one.
The separation of Auburn's offense and these wide receivers that they're going through, you want to think that they did a good job covering Arkansas's wide receivers last week. They did a good job slowing Arkansas down because Arkansas is a bad football team trying to learn how to rebuild and play. Okay? Bo Nix is not Felipe Franks. He is not going to give you the football over and over again. And he is going to make big plays. He is turning into his own. This is his second year. He is getting better and better. And these wide receivers are big play wide receivers. They just are. I think Auburn has a hell of a shot to win this football game. Now I can get the hook at 7.5. Are you crazy? Give it to me all day long.
Travis Overstreet said, Chris, they don't hear you preaching to these boys. That's what I'm talking about. Reclaim Jones, however, said Chris will be eating crow tonight. So, we'll see. Allison jumped in. West Virginia best O-lineman out today. They're starting a freshman. That is not what you want to be doing.
Not against Baylor.
Let's go ahead and talk about these last 3 games. We're going to fly through them, and then we'll give out some best bets and whatnot, and then we will get out of your hair before these games start here in about 18 minutes. LSU at Vandy, 18.5 opened, and now it's sitting at what, 21?
21.5, 20.5, 21.
Thoughts here?
Don't touch the number. LSU just needs to learn to win football games. They need to figure this offense out. Defense needs to get healthy. Defense needs to beat up on somebody, and I'd take the under at 52.
Arkansas at Mississippi State. I tend to like Arkansas if you can get it at 17, just because I don't think that they are going to play Mississippi State the same way. Mike Leach has a history of doing this for whatever reason. Now, he does have better talent, all that kind of stuff, but this line in the preseason was like 3. Now, I understand that we've seen what KJ Costello can do. However, I don't think LSU's defense was very good at all last week. And, I feel good about Arkansas being able to cover 17. I don't think they can win the game. But this thing has dropped down to like 16.5, at several spots. I'm probably going to stay away from this one. So
I love it. Mississippi State's one of my best bets. I got them at minus 17.5. I'll double down at 16.5. I like this team. I think they're going to beat the hell out of everybody.
Do we like Clemson or Virginia with the line sitting at 28?
I'm not touching that game.
Me either. I would take the first half on Clemson. So moving into best bets here, let's go ahead and talk about. I like Boston College plus 14.5. Absolutely love that spot. I love Alabama first half. I love Clemson first half. You can get Clemson, I believe, at 17 right now. You can get Alabama at 10, maybe 10.5. Both of those I'm fine with. I would even parlay those. Jerry jumped in and he was all over that. So I'm in with those two. I really like. I still love Georgia. I understand where you're coming from, all that, but I still love Georgia here. And
you got them tied to a ton of teasers, parlays, and everything else.
Oh yeah. And I think I like TCU. I think I like TCU in the points there. So those are my best bets. You got any that you really feel good about today?
I mean, I like all the picks that I've made, man. I mean, I really feel like this is the week I'm getting out of this hole. I really do. I like all my plays. I like Ole Miss a lot. I like Ole Miss a whole lot. I like Baylor a whole lot. Can't believe that line has gone down as much as it has. I'm with you on the BC number. I just think once it's gotten over 14.5, there's no way I'm not playing that. Just no way.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Let's dive into the comments to close us out today. David Chamillo said MTSU versus Western Kentucky. Thoughts on that one? That line is sitting around 7, I believe. And it's actually right at 7. I would roll with MTSU. There's 91% of the public on Western Kentucky, and it hadn't really moved. Western Kentucky has not impressed me this year. They have not looked good against Liberty or against Louisville. Like, Louisville has not turned out to be a very good football team at all. MTSU finally got their offense back rolling last week, and I think that they continue that rolling. This is a rivalry game. 7 points is a lot on this. Let's see. Calapeso said, thoughts on Kansas State? Yes, I'm rolling with Kansas State. The line has dropped down to 1 in that one, and I thought we had been over that one.
No, we didn't touch Kansas State game.
That is surprising. Huh.
No, it's all right. We're not hitting all of them.
So anyway, Kansas State, yeah, I'm all about Kansas State. I like them in this spot. I think everybody loves Texas Tech right now, but maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Benjamin said Tennessee first half line. I'm not touching it. I don't know what to expect out of Jared Guarantano, whichever one he prefers now. Let's see. Daquan Brooks said Florida first half. No.
I'm not playing it.
Let's see. Any good parlays? I want quick money makers. That's a tough one here.
Buy Amazon stock. Somebody got Arkansas plus 21. I don't know where the hell you getting that number.
I don't see Arkansas.
You got a buddy that'll lay 21 with you. Maybe take it, but I don't know that it's safe.
Yeah. Colonel jumped in. My best bets are Auburn plus 7.5, Central Florida minus 19.5, Bama first half minus 10, Ole Miss plus 7, and BC plus 14. Francisco said, awesome show, fellas. Chris, this is your week, bud. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Listen, you dig yourself a big hole, you got to bet a lot of games to get out.
You got that right. You need a big shovel, as you said on Tuesday.
Right. Got to have a big shovel.
All right, we got 13 minutes. Everybody go get your bets in. Let's do this thing. But before you do that, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, of course. We're going to be here every Tuesday and Saturday live talking about these wonderful games, this wonderful sport. There's a crisp in the air. I feel good about the way things are going. And go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Chris, is there anything else that we need to hit?
No, Cam Newton's positive with COVID, not going to play on Sunday. No, I'm pissed off.
Well, hopefully you get some wins to make you feel a little bit better. All right, we love you guys. Thank you for jumping into the comments. We appreciate all of you for watching with us and hanging out and all that good stuff. Subscribe, like, share, and go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you guys next time.